Welcome to Movies with MacLean. This is the podcast where we talk all things movies. Today I have with me Matt Vorbroker. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back and have you with me. We haven't done the show in a few months. This is really a one-time thing for now, and then we might come back in the summer, but don't expect any more new episodes to come in the near future. But today we're talking about our top 10 movies of 2017, and we both have our own list that we're each going to share. And if maybe my list doesn't make sense to you, like I rated something higher than something else earlier in the year and those are flipped now, that's because this is my list at the current time, having thought about these movies, seen some of them multiple times, and it could change in the future, but this is my current end-of-the-year list for the best movies of 2017. Matt, do you have anything?
Yeah, agreed. Because I probably want to see a decent amount of these a few more times at least.
Yeah, and I'm excited as I talk about these movies to go back and revisit them when they become available on Blu-ray and such. So, and also feel free to share your own lists in the comment section. We love to see other people's opinions. So we're not doing any movie news or anything today. We're just getting right into the top 10, but we'll start with some honorable mentions. So I'll list a few of mine. I have Darkest Hour.
Okay.
All the Money in the World.
Ooh.
The Lego Batman movie. I thought that was going to be on my list.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be on your list too, actually.
Baby Driver. And It, actually.
Okay.
I was really pleased with all these movies.
Yeah.
There's just 10 others that I thought were better. I actually just saw a couple of them, Darkest Hour, All the Money in the World. Both had really strong performances. I think Gary Oldman's a lock, probably. And
for Oscar nomination, at least?
I think he'll win.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Christopher Plummer might win, too. He was really good in All the Money in the World.
Nice.
And I think we'll talk about one of these, so I won't talk about it too much. But It was just a great surprise. Great horror movie, very scary, and also just had a good message, which I didn't expect.
Yeah.
So what are your honorable mentions?
Okay, so my honorable mentions also includes It, Chapter 1. Okay. Yeah, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Chapter 1, that's right.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what they do in the future, because they haven't really announced very much. Logan Lucky, I just watched recently. I really liked it.
Okay.
Wonder Woman and Split, also in my honorable mentions. Lego Batman and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay. I thought Split would make your list.
Yeah, I really liked it in the beginning of the year. I just didn't think... I don't know, there were just so many good movies this year. It was really hard.
Yeah, it actually turned out to be a pretty strong year.
Yeah.
I know, my top 5 is wow, that's a lot of good movies. And then my top 2 is holy crap, those are some of my favorites. So
yeah. I'm
excited to get into this. Anything else before we start our top 10?
No, I think we're ready.
All right. I'll go ahead and... I'll explain how we're going to do this. We'll do our 10 through 6. I'll do my 10 through 6, then Matt does his 10 through 6. Then we trade off, my 5, his 5, my 4, his 4, up to 1. And if there's a movie that I mention or he mentions that's higher on the other person's list, we're going to push it down the discussion to talk about it at the highest point. So, if something's his 8, but it's my 2, then we're going to talk about it when it gets to my number 2, not his 8, because we want to give these movies the best respect, or whatever. That's how we're doing it. So, starting off, my number 10 is in your honorable mentions, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, because we were talking about this a little bit, where you were reconsidering to put it higher on your list.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a big fan of this movie, thinking about it in retrospect, because I was expecting a war and didn't get that. It's not really War for the Planet of the Apes. It's more of a single battle, and it's a great story. It's just not what I was expecting. So I think this is sort of I was sort of committing the sin that a lot of people are with Star Wars, where it's not what they expected, so they don't like it as much. And
that's true.
Now that I think about it, it was actually a really great conclusion to Caesar's trilogy.
I agree.
And it's a great character piece for him. Andy Serkis gives another incredible performance, and I just like how he's sort of broken in this one. And you see how he's such a strong leader in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and in this one it's he's lost too much, and he starts to give into that anger that we've seen some of the other apes give into. And I really like Woody Harrelson's character and the way that his story plays out. And I'm really satisfied with War for the Planet of the Apes. I don't know. It's not my favorite. Dawn's definitely still my favorite.
Yeah, same. I'd agree.
But yeah, I'm excited to rewatch it since I only saw it once in theaters, but I wanna revisit it, and I'm looking forward to watching the whole trilogy at once now. At some point.
Because people have been saying like it's one of the strongest trilogies in recent memory.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and great. I mean, we don't get a lot of great science fiction franchises anymore, but yeah, it was incredible. Number 9, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay, we're gonna push that one up. Just wait, hold on.
I thought you might say that.
What? I guess we can talk about it. I think. Wait, hold on. One.
It's on your list.
Yes, it is on my list. It's only very slightly higher.
Okay, we can wait.
Okay.
Number 8 for me is The Disaster Artist.
Okay, I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, and I'm really excited to see it because I want to wait till, I just haven't gotten a chance to see it, but I just want to hear your thoughts on it. I guess
it's a fantastic movie. I honestly think it's going to get a lot of praise from the Academy.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I think it deserves it. Because not only is it hilarious, but it's just a great movie about these guys who were failing in Hollywood and decided to make their own movie, and it's just the biggest disaster ever. And you see everything that went into it and why it's such a bad movie.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to watch The Room, which I actually haven't ever seen. But even though it's a terrible movie, I really want to watch it now that I've seen everything that went into it. And James Franco is so great. He's so believable as Tommy Wiseau. And I mean, I won't ruin any of the comedy in it, but just every interaction with him is just funny. It's just one of those people that you don't understand how a person acts that way, but he is that way. And I mean, it is actually a good drama also, because you really care about Dave Franco's character, who's one of the actors in the movie.
Yeah.
He plays Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. But yeah, you see how he's struggling to find his way, and how Tommy Wiseau kind of gives him this opportunity, but he's sort of torn between sticking with The Room or pursuing other options. And it's interesting to see that relationship. It's kind of a weird relationship. They live together, but they're not really always on the same, always getting along, and they have different ambitions, sort of. But it's a really great movie, and I definitely recommend it. You'll enjoy it, and you'll get a lot of laughs out of Disaster Artist. So I'm excited to hear what you think.
I really want to see it. It looks so good.
Number 7, I have Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna push that one a little bit.
Okay. And my number 6 is Wind River.
Okay, that's my number 7, I believe.
Okay.
So we can talk.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I thought Wind River was fantastic, and this is the kind of movie that I love. Just suspenseful. Just you don't always know what's going on, but I really like the way that they revealed information.
Yeah, me too. I was really just sidestepped just by some of the editing, and just when they do some scene transitions. It's just really intriguing.
I think we're talking about the same piece. Yeah. Oh, and just so if people don't know what Wind River is, basically it's murder investigation on a Native American reservation set current day. Jeremy Renner plays a hunter tracker who lives in the area, and Elizabeth Olsen is an FBI agent, and basically there's not a lot of help from the FBI. It's just her and the natives, and Jeremy Renner. But it's a really compelling story, and it's written and directed by Taylor Sheridan, who wrote Hell or High Water and Sicario. And Taylor Sheridan just does a great job of telling these important stories that deal with issues that are going on in our country right now that I didn't know a whole lot about before I saw this movie, and same goes with Hell or High Water. I think he's just a really great storyteller, and Wind River is entertaining the whole way throughout. Jeremy Renner's performance is so strong, and a lot of the performances, you just really see in people's eyes, you see how they're grieving. I can't explain what I'm talking about without spoiling, but this movie really deals with grief in a good way, in a way that a lot of movies haven't done recently. And like I said, it just deals with an important issue, and it's really intense, suspenseful, entertaining. You're on the edge of your seat, and I can't recommend Wind River more. if you haven't seen it, definitely check out Wind River.
Yeah,
And
I
Matt,
mean,
it's
just
on your
like some of
list.
the best performances out of Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner that I've like ever seen, and it's just like a heartbreaking story. Like at the very end, when like the text is on the screen, you're just like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
It's
very real.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the action scenes, like it kind of starts where like it kind of creeps up on you a little bit, and then it kind of goes from like 0 to 60, like when you're not expecting it, and I really enjoyed it.
And the action scenes are like really well directed action sequences too. For a movie it's not an action movie, but when there is action, it's done very well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll go to your 10.
My number 10 is The Big Sick.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you haven't seen
No.
it? It is very funny. I really enjoyed it. Kumail Nanjiani's story. It's very funny, but also dramatic. I think he did a really good job. Did he write it with his wife?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
And then Judd Apatow like produced it, I believe.
Sounds right.
Okay, so yeah,
he's really funny.
Yeah, he's so funny.
Yeah.
I love him on Silicon Valley, one of my favorite shows right now, and it's just like really smart and good comedy, and there's a lot of drama in there that I didn't expect going into it, because it's like his movie would be more comedy, but it's actually really funny and really heartfelt, like the love story between him and his wife, and just like how powerful like the relationship is, and like how it like kind of takes some twists and turns with her parents, and like a coma that she ends up going into. It's actually really, really funny and good.
Yeah, I definitely need to check that out. We said there were a lot of surprises this year that when we look back, there's like so many great movies, and that's one that I missed that I only heard good things about. So yeah, you definitely confirmed that for me, that I should see it.
Alrighty, so my number 9, I'm assuming we're going to have to push on this, is Dunkirk.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, okay. So then my number 8, we talked about it, Wind River. I thought it was my number 7, but it was actually my number 8. My number 7 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my number 9.
Yeah. So this movie for me was incredible. Like, I think this year has been like the best years in recent past for Marvel. Like 2014 with Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that was
a pretty good year.
Pretty good year.
And we also had Days of Future Past.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a great year. And then this year we had just incredible superhero movies, but then Marvel Cinematic Universe itself with Guardians 2, I really enjoyed it, but like not as much as the next two, which was Spider-Man Homecoming and Thor Ragnarok. I think were brilliantly made by John Watts, was the Spider-Man?
I think so.
And then
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, who I love.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
his short film, his what is it? Hunt for the Wilder People and What We Do in the Shadows.
Vampire one, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. I really love his style of comedy and just like his directing.
Yeah. Okay, but Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. So I'm so proud because watching the original Spider-Mans, I'm just kind of like, I guess it's Spider-Man, but it's not. He's kind of like really old, and I didn't love it. But like they're great. There's some great moments in movies with especially 1 and 2. 3 definitely don't love it, and then the Amazing Spider-Man I just think was like kind of like Sony executives trying to relate to a younger audience with.
Like I love Andrew Garfield as an actor. I just don't like the way he plays Peter Parker.
I agree.
He's just like Peter Parker has to be awkward, but the way they did that was they just made him like stutter, and like I didn't really feel like I was watching the character Peter Parker, but I definitely felt that with Tom Holland.
Tom Holland
love him
is brilliant. I love him. He's just so good. Like he's Peter Parker to me.
Yeah, and
like, it's no question.
I also really liked what they did with Michael Keaton as Vulture. I mean, it's not like anything. Agree. It's not like we haven't seen that before in a Spider-Man story with like his relationship to Spider-Man, which I won't ruin. But it just worked, and it felt like I was hanging out with Spider-Man and his buddies, and that's like the best thing I can ask for a Spider-Man movie.
The humor in the movie definitely felt like callbacks to great 80s teenager comedies with like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or 16 Candles and stuff like that. With his friend group is really funny. Zendaya didn't even do that much, but just like her small moments I really liked when she like flicked him off at Homecoming for no reason or whatever. Yeah. I was like, that's hilarious. Or with Ned, when he's on the computers and then he gets caught and he's like, I'm watching porn. And I was just like...
Yeah, a lot of great comedy.
Yeah. And the Vulture, I think he's probably one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's best villains. Like...
Well, we'll get to one in a little bit.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed him. Just like on a human level, he was like doing this for a reason that he thought was right and that you could probably also see yourself in. And I really think... And like you connected to both.
Yeah, you did relate to him. They showed like... why he was going after it. And like yeah, he's the villain, but like you really understand him more than we've understood a lot of these villains. So
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with him.
And my favorite moment of the movie, I get goosebumps every time I watch it, is when Spider-Man's like crushed, and he's under the building, and he's just crying out like he's a kid, like he's just like trying to take this on by himself, and he's like just calling out for help, and you're just like, oh shit, that like it just gets me really deep every time.
And they didn't use like Iron Man too much.
Yeah,
it was just like it made sense how much they used him,
which
I like. It's like they kind of played it like he was gonna be like it was gonna be Iron Man 4 / Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it was not. It was Spider-Man's movie.
Definitely.
All right, your number 6.
My number 6 is Get Out.
Oh, we're punting, but not far. Not punting, sorry.
Nah.
We're pushing it down the discussion. Sorry, John Rivka. Get Out is my number 5.
Okay.
So we're pretty much
about to talk. Yeah. Okay. I rewatched it recently with my family, and it's just amazing. Like, I can't even, like, there's practically nothing wrong with this movie.
It's just unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's plain and simple a great movie. Like, you're gonna have a good time.
And, like, yeah, it's suspenseful, and, like, it's just so entertaining and funny, and, like, it combines so many genres, and at the same time has, like, very relevant social commentary, which, like, isn't what I always look for in a movie. Like, I'm not saying, like, this is the movie that's the most relevant for what's going on in our times, but like if you make a good movie first and then it has something that's actually kind of relevant to say, which it does, and everything that it says is very true in my opinion. So I really enjoyed it, and like the social commentary is very involved in like the reveal, which I think is awesome. And I didn't see the reveal coming at all. Like you're trying to think about what's going on, but like I never would have come up with.
It's something so far outside of the box that you would never think of it. Yeah. Like you're trying to figure this out. You watch the first half of the movie, and they're just like, "We'll give you like a month to figure this out." I don't think you'd come up with one idea that's that close. It's just insane, and. Yeah, just really well directed. There's this video I watched on YouTube with Jordan Peele, like reading Reddit, like comments about his movie, just like fan theories and just like different things that connect to each other in the movie, and he's like agreeing, saying people are insane, stuff like that. It's really funny. You should check it out.
Okay, and I also think that the performances are really strong, and like when things change, the way you feel about certain characters changes so drastically.
Yeah.
And also, like, the effects are actually surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
Like, when it's in, like, the sunken place, if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's, like, a really cool effect that, like, really sort of feels, like, trapped. And, like, I didn't know, like, I wouldn't think of...
out of that, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, it's just cool how they make that visual effect that, like, you watching it, you feel like you're trapped. Like, I wouldn't think a movie could make me feel that way.
Yeah.
It was really cool how they did that effect.
Yeah, and even small stuff like that, it's just, like, even that you probably couldn't think of. Like, just, like, a small, like, effect where he's just, like, floating and, like, looking up at, like, a tiny screen that is what he's seeing. It's just, like, it's just ingenious. I really love it.
I'm just very excited to see what Jordan Peele does next.
I agree.
Do we know what he's working on?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm really excited for whatever it is.
Yep.
All right, so my number 5
is
Baby Driver. So you
that
said
was my
honorable mention.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, just brilliant. Like, Edgar Wright is probably one of my favorite directors. I mean, there are so many good ones, but, like, I really love the Cornetto trilogy, especially, is really funny. And Scott Pilgrim, like, I don't think he's done wrong, in my opinion. Like, all of his movies are brilliant.
I love Edgar Wright.
Yeah. And this movie is just, like, a really good love story with really good foreshadowing and just connections throughout the entire movie that is just really funny. Like, quotes that Baby just sees on the TV and says it to people. Like, they grow up so freaking fast, don't they? Or the Monsters, Inc. quote. Like, we're friends. I cherish, like, our friendship. And he's like, stop saying Monsters, Inc. quotes. And it's so, I just love it. I really enjoy it. Just the characters are amazing.
It was just a great time in the theater.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I like Edgar Wright's comedies more than I like Baby Driver, but it's still a great action movie, and you really care about the characters, and like they really create like a suspense with him being around these other characters played by like Jamie Foxx and I think John Hamm. Like, you just never know what those characters are going to do. They're all like loose cannons, and so that just creates like this excitement in the theater, which I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater, but it's definitely one that I'm looking forward to seeing again.
Yeah.
And what they do with the music, where the track is always like relevant to, or the track always just plays along with like what with the action of the scene, and like if there's not music going on, there's like a ringing playing, which is like what is going on in baby's head. So I think that's so cool, such a cool effect. And yeah, I mean, this just shows how great of a year it was. Where like I still love this movie, but like there's 10 other movies that I think were better. So
definitely agree. And it being just, I don't know, there's just so many small stuff, like when he's listening to music in the opening scene to go get coffee, there's just like words from the songs that he's listening to just like all over the place. Goes in the coffee shop, there's like a black heart on the like wall across the street, and then he sees the main love interest, Lily James, walk by, and the heart is pink when he looks back. It's just like love at first sight. Small stuff like that, like the quote from Dolly Parton, like rainbow and rain or something like that. It rains, and then at the very end when he gets out of
we know. Yeah. If you've seen it, you know.
Well, there's a rainbow at the end.
But
yeah. And I just so many good things. It's just like small, like I think Edgar Wright's just brilliant, and just like how articulated he is with like just every piece of his film.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 4 is one that we can't push forward, and that's Dunkirk.
Yeah.
So Dunkirk is like a technical masterpiece, and it's just unlike any theater experience I've had before. We did a review back, I think it was actually the last episode we did, was Dunkirk review.
Yeah.
It just felt like you were there watching it in the theater. I saw it in the theater twice, both times in IMAX, and it was just like, I can't even describe it. I think it's going to go down a little bit when I watch it on Blu-ray. I'm still going to get the Blu-ray for sure.
Yeah.
But just being in the theater and the sound and I mean the dog fights are just the best dog fighting that I've seen in any war movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's light on like character development and all that, but in this story where these guys are just trying to survive, just trying to get home, they don't have time to, share that moment with the other guy like you see in a lot of other war movies. It's not like cliched or anything, and you just really don't know if like these characters are going to survive.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Like, first time watching it, I think it was just like, because I kind of had an idea, like people had said, like in reviews that I had watched, people had said like, be prepared for something that's like a little disorganized. And I'm like, what? And I go in and I'm watching it halfway through, I'm like, wait, and I'm just like figuring it all out, and I'm like, whoa. I totally agree. Like, probably one of the most realistic war movies I've seen without it being like entirely gruesome in the way that like Saving Private Ryan, like opening 10 minutes was.
Well, it's a PG-13 movie, but it still works.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree. That's just like amazing how he made it work in so many different ways. And just like how every piece of like the puzzle, like in the film, like from the very beginning, like first shot to the very end, is like all important to this story and just like telling it.
Yeah, and you don't need like that much dialogue to really understand these characters.
Exactly.
To understand Cillian Murphy's character and Mark Rylance's character, and Tom Hardy is acting with his eyes for most of the movie.
And he does it.
And he still does a great job. So yeah, I mean, with like limited dialogue, you still care about these characters, and it's just so immersive, I guess would be the word to use, like with all of the sound and everything that goes into it to making you feel like you're there. And I don't know if it's gonna like stand up as one of the best war movies, but it's definitely what you'd expect from a Christopher Nolan war movie.
Yeah.
It's like thinking outside the box of how we can make another great war movie that doesn't feel cliched. And
he did it.
Yeah, and we haven't had like a Dunkirk movie before, like about this story, and did that perfectly with the way the story was told. I know you're a big fan of the non-linear storytelling.
Yeah.
And then I just think that the ending is perfect with the speech that's actually in Darkest Hour, also from Winston Churchill. So I thoroughly enjoyed Dunkirk, and I I haven't had a better theater experience or a more unique theater experience.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I totally and wholeheartedly agree with everything you said. It's just like so. I don't know. It's like hard to put into words because it's just like you're sitting there and you're just watching this. Like it feels like people have been saying this about like a lot of the recent movies, like Call Me by Your Name and stuff like that. But like it feels like you're a fly, like in this, like just like on like the windshield of like Tom Hardy's plane, or like just flying across the boat with like watching these people. Because like you said, people probably wouldn't be talking a lot. They'd be kind of like I don't know, just sulking, I guess, or like in some moments, or not like taking the time to eat instead of like talk, or like small stuff like that. And it's I think Christopher Nolan does a really good job just keeping it minimalist with their like dialogue and stuff like that, but then also making the characterization like max out.
Yeah, and I think the music really helps build that like sense of impending like doom.
Yeah.
That the movie has the whole time. So that's all I have on Dunkirk.
Okay, so my number
4? Or?
4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, my number 4 is another one we pushed is Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
So we started talking about this a little bit. I got a little sidetracked with Spider-Man: Homecoming, but Thor Ragnarok is like my second favorite Marvel movie of all time.
Really?
Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
This movie's a blast.
I love
it.
It's like from the very beginning, it's very funny and it's amazingly just like well paced and just like keeping you in the story. I just love it. It's like it's hard to put into words.
It's hard to like say how much you love it without saying like spoilers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it, but there's just things on the screen that I never thought I would see in a movie theater. Just things that like you imagine like, or you read in a comic book, or you like imagine like certain fights with like action figures when you're a kid, and you get to see that on the big screen now.
Yeah.
And there's Led Zeppelin music playing in the background.
Exactly.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, amazing. And like I love how they did that with like keeping it in the trailer. Like I think in the first or second trailer where they had that song in there. But then like probably wouldn't have expected that they would keep it in the film just because like they would keep it separate. But then when it plays in the theater, you're just like, oh, it's getting me hyped. It's just like keeps you entertained the entire time. It's probably the funnest Marvel movie of all time. Probably not the best made, but
very funny.
It's very fun.
Scourge with like where he explains where he got the guns from.
Yeah.
So
just
funny,
like small like stuff like that, and then like Another Day, Another Doug. Some small lines like that. It just keeps you like entertained the entire time.
Yeah, everyone in the theater laughed their ass off at Taika Waititi's character. I forget the name. The Rock character. Korg. Yeah. So funny, and like every time he's on the screen, he's just doing something ridiculous and funny. And Hela is a great villain.
Agree.
We said the same thing about Vulture, but Marvel's really turning it around.
Yeah.
Because this was the criticism of these movies, was that it had weak villains, but now we're getting Hela and Vulture, and we're about to get Thanos, so I think we're getting a lot of good villains now. I think they've fixed it. But how like she sort of changed what we thought about the lore, and then like the cameos that are in there from I don't know, should we say, or
I mean, it's been a couple months. Yeah,
everyone knew that he was going to be in there with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And then like just the other like pieces of lore that I didn't know we would get on the big screen. I was so happy to see.
Yeah.
One of them you see Thor chained up at the beginning in the trailer. Who he's chained up by, I won't say, but if you've seen it, you know. I didn't think we'd get that, but that was awesome.
It was just amazing to see.
There's a certain creature that Hulk is fighting at one point that's just so awesome to watch, if you know what I'm talking about. Valkyrie was awesome.
Some of the greatest, especially with Civil War going on like last year, and just like Hulk and Thor being gone, and you're just like, I feel like I'd rather be with them because they're having a lot more fun. And I think Valkyrie, like you said, was probably amazing. Like I feel like she could probably take over for Thor at some point if she needed to, because they've done female Thor in the comics, and
it's actually really well received.
Yeah, exactly.
The female Thor run.
And Hulk did a really funny job, but also a good job. I love how they gave him like minuscule dialogue because he's like been the Hulk for 2 years, so he's like speaks like a 2-year-old. Just small stuff like that I thought was amazing.
And they really like let Chris Hemsworth be funny.
Yes,
because like in the other ones he's obviously funny, but it's more of like he doesn't know what's going on in our world, so he like acts like he would in Asgard, and that creates humor. But in this one, he's actually like funny of his own accord.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Totally agree.
Anything else?
I don't know. It's just brilliant. Like, just go see it. You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's a blast. All right, my number 3 might be pushing back. Some people might not agree with this. Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to push.
Okay, now you're number 3.
My number 3 is Logan.
We're pushing that one back too.
Okay.
All right, my number 2. Now I mentioned that my 1 and 2 were like so close. They're like tomorrow I could flip these.
Yeah.
But my number 2, which I thought would be number 1, is Blade Runner 2049.
I agree. It's my 2 as well.
It's also your 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we know what each other's number 1 are.
Yeah.
Just a masterpiece of filmmaking.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see it again. Like, it's just like something I just want to keep watching and just get small stuff and just keep like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I can't. It's just so good. Like, I just watched it and I'm like, this could probably be better than the original.
Like, I've only seen it once.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard for me
that's
to
why I
say.
say probably. I don't want to say anything like for sure, but like if I watch this like continuously, just like I have Blade Runner, I think it might be better for me. But I don't know. We'll see what future tells.
Well, you know how much I love Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I didn't know that I needed a sequel to Blade Runner, but I needed this movie because it's like it just continues the lore and furthers the story in a way that doesn't feel like they're just trying to build like a franchise of sequels.
It's not a sequel to just be a sequel. It's a sequel to like further an actual story.
Yeah, and it continues the story in a way that makes sense for the universe that's set up in Blade Runner, and a way that continues to explore the sci-fi themes that are explored in the original, and it explores those even deeper, and you really get more of like the replicants' perspective on what's going on, and I just love things like how they have like the synthetic farm that Dave Bautista works on that just makes sense that it would be in this universe, and like the whole, I think it's Las Vegas is where it's all irradiated.
Yeah, I believe so.
That feels like it belongs in the Blade Runner world. Every frame of this movie is just beautiful.
Yeah,
like,
I wholeheartedly.
It better win like cinematography Oscar.
I think it should. Yeah.
I mean, I think it could win Best Picture. I don't think it will, but like I think it deserves it, to be honest.
Okay. So we've talked about this in the past, and like we've debated it a little bit because I think we have like slightly opposing views on whether
is Deckard a replicant. I love that they like don't give you a clear answer still. They just leave it open.
You can choose for yourself.
And like they give you like
like they're kind of like,
but like they make both options possible,
very possible.
So it's not like, oh, we're waiting to find out, and then like
they're kind of like it doesn't matter and it doesn't need to. Like it's not something that has to be important for the story to like be impactful or as impactful as both of the movies have.
Yeah.
And just like Ryan Gosling's whole story where he's like being built up and just like this love story, and also like her kind of pushing him to be this thing that he's not, and I think it's just really good.
And his love interest is Ana de Armas, who I did not like at all in War Dogs.
Yeah.
She's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, she's really good, actually. And Ryan Gosling is fantastic in this movie. And I like that they don't, like, it's not another thing of, is he a replicant? They just come out and tell you right away.
I was just like, oh, I didn't expect that.
And the way that he plays that and, like, finding out what his place is in this story is he plays it so well, and I like how it continues with like the first Blade Runner, where it really feels like a detective movie, where things are being revealed to us throughout the whole movie, and as Ryan Gosling's learning these things, he has different reactions and sort of feels like, or he's trying to find out like where he belongs in this story of replicants and humans, and I don't want to get into what's going on there without ruining it. There's a lot of
so much,
Well, I mean, there's so much that you don't expect, you don't see coming, which I'm so happy, because seeing the trailer, I kind of felt like I knew what I was going to get, but I did not know at all. And there's so much going on here that you wouldn't know, you won't know until you see it.
Yeah, kind of like we talked about with Wind River. This isn't an action movie, but when action is like there, it's great.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Some of the best that I've seen in like Blade Runner or whatever, because previous Blade Runner action is good, but like this is, I think, really good, like great.
It's incredible, and it just furthers the fact that Denis Villeneuve is one of the best working directors.
Yeah.
I think this is his best movie.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's made a lot of really good movies.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could say it's his best, but, like, it's definitely up there. Like, probably top 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen this guy's movies, he's made so many incredible films.
Please buy a Blu-ray of this movie because it did not make any money
in
theaters.
Such a shame. Like,
and it's gonna scare like studios away from making more movies like this.
Yeah,
and it makes me so mad. I'm like, people need to see this.
And Harrison Ford didn't mail it in either.
No, yeah, I was surprised by that too. I was like, oh shit.
It's like obviously he mailed it in with Indiana Jones, but then he comes back as Han Solo, and you feel like you're watching Han Solo.
Yeah.
And you come back and you feel like you're watching Rick Deckard.
Yeah.
And he's also, I mean, this doesn't really have to do with the movie, but he's like jacked. Like, I didn't expect to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Harrison Ford is like 75 years old.
Yeah,
he's in really good shape.
You wouldn't want to take a punch from him.
No. I mean, I feel like we could keep talking about this forever.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have a whole lot else?
Not really. Like, just buy it. Get some way to get this movie.
It's hard to talk about it without spoiling it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to see it.
There's so much in it.
All right. We're gonna move on then to both of our number ones.
Yeah.
So, do you want to share your number? Well,
sure.
we know what it is.
Yeah,
so
I feel like
which one do you want to talk about first?
Either way, you want to talk about Logan?
Okay. So he said it. My number one is Logan, as you probably could figure out. I said it's very close between Logan and Blade Runner, and I just think what it comes down to, why Logan takes number one, is I was just so emotionally affected by Logan.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it a couple times now, and I have the Blu-ray. I'll watch it 100 more times. Just this story of Wolverine and Laura. It's a incredible story of an old man and a young girl on a trip across the country trying to get her to safety, and you see how the relationship between them grows as they go on, and you see how both characters develop, and it's just so emotionally affecting to see where this relationship starts and how it progresses and where it ultimately concludes. And I think it's the perfect send-off for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Probably the best performance in any comic book movie. And it really changes what a comic book movie can be. Like, I've never been this emotionally affected by a comic book movie. Even The Dark Knight, which I've seen 100 times. Like, I mean, Dark Knight's a better movie than Logan. But Logan is just has such an impact on me.
I have some comments on that. But, like, just watching a clip of the end with him and, was it Laura?
Yeah.
Just, like, I get goosebumps and almost tear up every single
just
time.
Thinking about it.
Just watching, like, a tiny clip from that, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is just, it hits you. And, like, it's probably the closest to Dark Knight that a comic book movie has gotten in recent memory.
Yeah, and, like, I haven't, like, when I initially saw it, I didn't have it up that high, but now it might be, like, it's definitely a top 5 comic book movie, I think, in my opinion.
Because, like, The Dark Knight is a brilliant movie directed to perfection with great performances, like, all around. And this movie, I think it is the same, but without, like, that second, like, villain performance. I think the villain in here is a little weak, but then also I think there's good things in there with him being his own villain in his past. And I just, like, it's like...
And what he has to face
Yeah.
is... I mean, it just fits the story so well.
I totally agree. It's just, like, a perfect ending.
And we haven't talked about Patrick Stewart also, who gives another incredible performance. Like, there's a lot of great performances this year, so I don't know if I could call it an Oscar-worthy supporting actor performance, but Patrick Stewart is incredible. Like, you just see how he's dealing with, like, the mental illness, and you believe that it's that's a mental illness patient.
Watching the previous X-Men movies, you have a certain expectation of how he's going to act, play this person. And then you walk into this, and he's, like, almost a different person, but, like, the same character. Mm-hmm. And it's just because of how much he's changed in recent years, and it's just, like, heartbreaking to see that as well. And I think that has a lot of similar connections to my number one, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the movie looks gorgeous, too, as you see, like, they go starting in Mexico and going across
it's just
through different parts of the country. It just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And, very R-rated film, and it needs to be. I mean, we hadn't had a lot of R-rated comic book movies before, and this really showed what that can do for the genre.
I mean, yeah, just like I think it. There's okay. So sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. There is. So you got the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Did it come with like a black and white?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
So there was someone or a YouTube video I watched on that where it was like signifying the difference between like blackness in the movie and just like how dark it can be like when you're watching it, but then like how like also light is very thematically incorporated into it. I do not remember because this was a long time ago I watched the video, but I thought it was probably a good thing to bring up.
Okay. And I think also, sort of tying the next movie we're about to talk about, we see like how the hero is very broken.
Yeah.
And then finds something to fight for.
Yeah.
And I just think that any story like that is incredible. And just a movie that can make a relationship between these two people feel so real is just, it transcends the genre, and it affects me in a way that most movies can't do.
Yeah.
When I watch it and I feel like I'm watching real characters, and it's also, I mean, I've watched Wolverine in like 8 movies now, but I've never seen him like this before. It's unlike any other film in the way that it affects me. So Logan is my number 1 movie of the year.
Yeah, so you had it as your number 1 when it first came out, right?
Yeah, when it first came out.
But it hasn't always stayed there, so you like fluctuated a little bit with Blade Runner.
I thought Blade Runner would have taken it. The first time, I've only seen Blade Runner once. So like when I first saw Blade Runner, I was like, this is the best movie of the year.
Yeah.
But now thinking about Logan and how my emotional connection to it, Logan's my current number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll watch Blade Runner, and I'll watch both of them multiple times.
Yeah. I still have
eventually
to
I'll decide what I like more, but right now I'm saying Logan.
Okay. So, like we talked about, it's probably easy to figure out. My number 1 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and I wasn't expecting this either, especially with a lot of backlash before I had seen it, and I was like, oh no, this isn't great. But I just really enjoyed this movie. It's like it's hard to talk about without spoiling it too, but like I think it's brilliantly filmed. I also think it probably has more mistakes in it and like problems that probably could have been a little etched out, but like not as big as some people I think are making them out to be. But otherwise, I think this is it's just my favorite movie of the year. It's the most fun I had in a movie on top of Thor Ragnarok, which I loved and had a ton of fun with. And also probably one of the most heartfelt moments in movies this year. Because like even with Logan, I watched something with the very end of this movie and almost the same thing.
Another character that we've grown up with, followed through 5 movies now, and the way that Mark Hamill plays Luke in this movie is probably the best that we've ever seen him do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's on the level of those original trilogy movies, but maybe you think it is. I mean, but the performance is unlike anything we've seen. I was also really impressed with Carrie Fisher's performance, which I was glad to see because we didn't get to see that much of her in Force Awakens, and that wasn't really what stood out for me in that movie, but she was incredible in this movie. I love that we got so much more from Poe Dameron, and just my favorite part is the further, or like how they told the story with Rey and Kylo, and I can't spoil what's going on there, but if you've seen it, you know what's going on with those two. I think that's such a great way to tell this story, and obviously one's on the light side, one's on the dark side, but they have so many similarities, and I mean, it's interesting to see how they each follow their own path and how they're each tempted to take the other path. Yeah. So I thought the way they did that was perfect. Yeah. It's your number 1, so you talk.
Yeah, I mean, no, you didn't get to talk about it, and it was your 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with everything you were saying. I was just captivated by you. It's just like the whole movie, I feel like just fits really well together. Where Chris Stuckman had said like he thought that at one point Rian Johnson had like watched the final cut of it and was like, oh, I can't take anything out. It's kind of like he was relating it to when George Lucas first watched the final cut of The Phantom Menace, where he's like, oh, it all kind of fits together. I can't really cut anything or take anything out. But I thought it fit well together, and I was just really engrossed into this story, more so than The Force Awakens, though it was a little slower at some points, but I don't mind slow that much. But yeah, sorry, hold on, I'm trying to catch my thoughts. And just like the characters, and just like one character from the original trilogy that we saw, and I can't spoil. Just what his entire scene, I loved everything that he said, everything that he did. It was perfect for me.
And there's another scene that's not a spoiler that this character's in the movie, but R2-D2, his scene with Luke has come to, after seeing it 3 times, that's not my favorite scene. Because that, like so many other scenes in this movie, just has a great parallel and a great, like drawback to the original trilogy, where it feels like the original trilogy, it feels like Star Wars, but it also feels so new. And in that scene, it sort of brings out the old Luke, because Luke is grizzled in this movie, and he's not really the same guy that we knew. At least he's a changed man, but we get to see, R2, like you see him come out, and then and what R2 says, I don't know how to, I mean, I can't spoil it, but what R2 does in that scene is, it's just like the ultimate nostalgia for me.
But not too heavy-handed. It's just just perfect. You know what I mean?
And it makes sense too. It's not like it's not like shoving nostalgia in your face. It's like, this makes sense. And I think I mentioned how it has a lot of parallels to the original trilogy. This isn't a spoiler because you see that they have a scene together in the trailer, but there's a scene with Rey and Snoke that has a great parallel to scene with Luke and the Emperor. And that is just incredible for me to watch that on the big screen, thinking this is just like what I saw in Return of the Jedi, but not just like it. Like it feels very similar. There's a lot of like music cues and the ways that certain characters react, but it's not like they're just rehashing it. It definitely feels new, and characters react similarly, but not exactly the same way. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that scene is incredible. Probably the best sequence in the movie.
I agree.
And there's an incredible fight sequence that, I mean, the whole audience is just cheering.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it.
Totally.
I can't spoil it if you haven't, but go see it if you haven't seen Star Wars. Come on.
Yeah, for sure. And just the whole themes of like failure and like Master's greatest burden. We are what they grow or like they are what we grow or we are what they grow beyond. Yes, that I just love that. That's perfect for me.
And like, they really explore failure as a theme in this movie. And I think there's one sequence that a lot of people, it's my least favorite sequence of the movie, but a lot of people don't like that sequence, and they don't like that it feels irrelevant. But I think if you have that opinion, then you're not really getting the point of the movie, which deals with failure a lot. And I think I'm doing a good job of not spoiling this. But the theme of failure plays into why that scene doesn't really pan out for the characters.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen it, you have
the
no idea
hardest
what I'm talking about.
You can try as hard as you can and still do not succeed.
Yeah. And I think that what's really great is that Star Wars, one of the best things about Star Wars is that it just looks cool. And the whole crate sequence looks so cool with the skimmers going across the salt and the red, the red lines through the salt, and the trenches that the soldiers are in. You know, it feels like Star Wars, but it also feels new. Like, it's not like, oh, that's just Hoth. No, this is like a new planet that has its own backstory and lore, and I mean, if you want to look into that, go ahead. That's what's great about Star Wars. It's tip of the iceberg storytelling. It gives you just the base of it, and then if you want to explore it, there's so much more to go into. And this does a great job of that, and it looks like Star Wars, but it also feels fresh, feels new. So
totally. Good way to end it.
All right. Nothing else on Star Wars?
Nah, perfect.
Okay. You want to just like read off our list, like just go through just to recap?
For sure.
Each read off our list. So my list, my number 10, War for the Planet of the Apes. Number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 8, The Disaster Artist. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. 6, Wind River. 5, Get Out. 4, Dunkirk. 3, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. 2, Blade Runner 2049. And number 1, Logan. Matt?
Alright, so my number 10, The Big Sick. Number 9, Dunkirk. Number 8, Wind River. Number 7, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 6, Get Out. Number 5, Baby Driver. Number 4, Thor Ragnarok. Number 3, Logan. Number 2, Blade Runner 2049. And number 1, Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Yep. We had a very similar list.
Yeah.
So that's it. We are going to have another discussion here, but that's it for our best movies of 2017. Great year in cinema. If you haven't seen any of those movies, definitely check out all of them. So 2017 was a great year for movies, and we hope that 2018 will be just as good of a year. So now we're going to talk briefly, 5 minutes maybe, about what we're most looking forward to in 2018. So I'm going to start with one that I'm most looking forward to, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this.
Okay.
Avengers: Infinity War.
Yes. It's like the one where it's like, it's number 1 on pretty much everyone's list. It's like building up from 10 years to this like ultimate like final movie in Phase 4. Oh, wait, no, it's not
still
even...
Phase 3.
Oh, yeah, it's still Phase 3. So Phase 3, I believe it's the final. Wait, maybe is Avengers 4 the final?
That's right, there is another one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly up in the air, but I just can't wait to see what the Russo brothers do with this movie.
And, like, the Avengers, the first one, was, like, we were building up to that through, like, all these solo movies with, like, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk. And then this has just been building up, like you said, for 10 years, where it's the culmination of everything we've seen. And I can't think of a film franchise that's had, like, 25 movies where, like, 23 of them are really good.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much how good
the
Marvel Cinematic Universe has been.
Yeah.
And this just looks like such heavy stakes in Avengers: Infinity War. Like, some characters better die in this movie. Like, I love these characters, but some of them better die.
I think they will. I think, at least, like, in the 3 and 4, I think there's definitely going to be a few deaths that a little heart-wrenching, I don't know.
Yeah, and, like, they're going back to the old, like, the original Avengers score, which is in the trailer, and I just get goosebumps watching that trailer. I mentioned I've seen Star Wars 3 times, so I've got to see that trailer on the big screen 3 times. And I can't wait. It's in, like, 5 months, something like May 4th. So, that's definitely the biggest one.
Yeah.
What else are you looking for?
So, probably after that, there's the other Marvel movies I'm pretty big fanboy in those, which is Black Panther, only like 2 months away.
Black Panther's also on my list.
And,
it just looks like Marvel keeps, like, I mean, they all sort of follow the same formula. Like Thor, even though it was fantastic, it was still pretty much the same formula we've seen.
Yeah.
But it still felt completely new and fresh. And Black Panther feels the same way, like something we haven't seen before.
Totally.
So yeah, I can't wait for that.
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp, which we haven't seen anything from, but I'm super excited to see because I love Paul Rudd. I love the first Ant-Man more than most people, even though it's probably like not like halfway through my Marvel movie list because there's so many good ones. Yeah, exactly. But then other than those, I'm really excited for Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm so excited to see that because it looks like a video game,
yeah.
but it doesn't, like, it's not going to look bad.
Yeah,
like,
because it's a video game.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look not perfect, but still, like, really good in the sense that they're all interacting and still kind of CGI, but not, like, very.
And it's nice to see, like, Spielberg do another, like, action blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he made, like, the BFG, but, like, come on. Like... We're getting back to these classic, fun Spielberg movies. And
totally.
It looks incredible. I'm also very excited for Ready Player One. I have Deadpool 2 on here. Like,
for sure.
New director and everything, but, like, you still have Ryan Reynolds, who's got a lot of input on that. And, I mean, it's just going to be hilarious and so entertaining. Deadpool is, like, the most rewatchable movie, I think, like, in the past few years. So I just can't wait to see, like, what they do next.
Probably not on most people's radars, but also New Mutants comes out.
I actually do have that on my list.
Yeah, and the Phoenix, which I'm not incredibly excited for. I'm just kind of like, it's going to happen. I'll wait for a trailer.
I don't know.
But also, Phoenix. Another thing that's probably on no one's...
Wait, can I talk about New Mutants?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, I just think that, unfortunately, I mean, this could be a good thing, but... For me, I think it's unfortunate that Disney's bought Fox.
Yeah.
Because I just think that Fox keeps, like, pushing the boundaries with what
they can do.
What they can do with superhero movies. We obviously talked about Logan, and I mentioned Deadpool.
Yeah.
And New Mutants is unlike anything we've seen before in a superhero movie. Yeah. And if it's anything like what we got with Logan and Deadpool, I can't wait to see what they do with New Mutants.
Yeah, me too.
And great cast too.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, what was on?
So the Cloverfield movie, whatever it is,
like no
God
trailer
Particle,
or anything. Yeah,
1 month from not even a title. Like it's God Particle, but it's also not. Like
I think they changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month from today, no trailer, practically no title. It's a mystery. I don't really know what to say about it, but I'm excited.
I mean, 10 Cloverfield Lane was fantastic.
Yeah.
The last one I wanted to talk about, which I really don't know too much about, but Annihilation.
Oh, yes. I love those trailers. They're so intriguing. I'm just like, what's going on here?
And it's from Alex Garland, who made Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And it has Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac. That's an all-star team right there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they do. I'm sure it's going to be, like, creepy as hell, but also just, like, really cool sci-fi. So, yeah, that one's definitely on my radar. It comes out in February, too, I think. So, yeah, that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Any others for you?
Just two more small ones. Wreck-It Ralph 2, I'm really excited for. It was probably one of my favorite animated movies, like, at the time when it was coming out. And The Incredibles 2.
Of course.
Yeah, just two ones that I'm just really excited for.
Mm-hmm. Another one, not on my list, I just want to mention real fast, A Quiet Place. That looks so cool. With,
I'm just like...
what they do with the sound in that movie.
Yeah. Just, like, when people are watching it, the trailer in theaters, it's, like, completely silent. You're like, this would be a cool theater experience to watch.
Yeah. All right, that's our show. It was a long one, but it's the only one we've done in a while, so I guess that makes sense. It was a lot of fun for me. I'm glad that you could come out.
Tons of fun for me.
And nothing planned for Movies with MacLean in the near future, but maybe next summer we'll do Avengers Infinity War review or talk about whatever's coming out in the summer. Maybe do some more of our classic podcast episodes. But this is it for now, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, let us know what you liked the best this year, what you're looking forward to in 2018, and tell your friends about the podcast. So thanks, Matt, for coming.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
And thanks to everyone for listening. And may the force be with you, always.